Welcome back to another episode of Boom and Bust, your home for NFL Draft Talk. I'm your host, Terry, and today talking about the 2019 guards and centers. We are done, or should I say I'm done, with the offensive line group for the first round. And I have to say that not really feeling them as much. This offensive line group is not that talented to me on the first round look. I'll look at them some more, but honestly, the top talent isn't that great to me, even considering the tackles who there's some solid ones, but nothing that really makes me excited. And then the interior is even more worse. This is probably one of the first times that I can remember the center group being more exciting than the guards. And it's real easy to think about last year and just that kind of amazing group that you had where the interior linemen were just amazing. People talk about Quentin Nelson as a once in a generation talent, but you got to remember Will Hernandez. You got to remember Billy Price, who started for the Bengals. You got to remember Isaiah Wynn. Like, some great prospects came out last year. So this year, just not a good group, to be totally honest with you. But anyway, we're going to get into that group, and then we're going to end this off with the real grade. We are doing the Tennessee Titans today, so stick around for that. So let's get into this group. Now, I like to try to do the top three guys or whatnot. With this, it's a little tough because, again, the talent isn't that great. A lot of these guys are mixed up in the same category. So, I'm going to just try to pick out some of the bigger names, I would say. So number one, with the guards, we'll start with Chris Lindstrom, who comes from Boston College, 6'4", 310, right guard. I really enjoy his tape, especially I got to him a little later and I was like, okay, finally somebody that can be, a little intriguing, but I think he's a run blocker, real tough nose, a lot of gamers this year in the interior group, at least with the centers, and Chris is a gamer, and what I call a gamer, just somebody that understands the game and they love the process. You can tell on the field, they're not really loafing and being lazy. They're really getting after people. They just enjoy it snap by snap, and they put all the energy out there basically. So, definitely a gamer to me. I think his pass protection is a little limited. While he does have kind of, good feet, I still think his ability to mirror defenders is a little suspect. Now, mirroring defenders, so with guards and tackles is different. So last time tackles, I talked about playing basketball defense. That's kind of what you got to do as an interior lineman, where you want to anticipate stunts and twists in different games like that. But you also want to anticipate if the defensive lineman you're going up against one-on-one is trying to go inside or outside on you. And you're not so much on the island, especially when you play tight. You got that center with you. But for guards, it's a little different than it is with tackles. So mirroring a defender can be a little more difficult for the slower foot guys. And some guys just don't move their feet well. A lot of guys get on contact and stop moving their feet, and then guys counter on them, and then they're gone. So with Chris, I just think, it's above average overall to say his pass protection in that sense. But what I really like about him is the run game. I think, he's a great puller. He can get to where you need him to get to, whether it's to the edge or if it's a short pull or if he's pulling up in the counter to go up to the next level. I think he's got great range, and he understands the angle, so he gets there and he hits the guy that he's going to that he's aiming for. And I like him as a drive blocker, good double team. One of the few offenses with Boston College that's kind of pro style and run heavy, and so this is your kind of throwback typical run blocker type of offensive lineman that's going to get after people, that's going to try to root linemen out of the gap and really move them rather than just kind of stand in front of them. So, I like his total package overall out of the guard group. I think, he's definitely one of the top 3 guards in this group. One of the other guards that I really like is Michael Dieter from, Wisconsin. Now, he's a guy that's a 5-tool offensive lineman, as they call him. He used to play left tackle. He played center back in 2016. So he's been around to all the positions. And that type of versatility is big. As I always say in this time of year, versatility equals value. So him having multiple experiences at different positions is going to help. So as a guard, he's pretty big, 6'6", 328. So that's that's a huge guard. And I think he's really experienced. I'm not sure. I think he's a senior. I'm not sure. Cause I know there's talk about him coming out last year, but he's really experienced and he just understands the nuances of the game and just the small technique things. I think he's good with. His pure size allows him to have a good anchor. And that's probably the biggest thing when you're talking about interior linemen, because the quickest path to the quarterback is up the middle. And so having guys that can take on power without getting pushed back into the quarterback, that's important. So with his pure size, he's naturally stout. He's going to be able to hold his own at the point of attack, even if his technique isn't the best, because at 6'6", I think he stands a little high. He shows that in short run game, he can play with bend. He can get down and have leverage, but in your everyday play, I don't think he plays with as much leverage as he, could. And I like his quickness. I mean, as a guy that played left tackle, you gotta think that he's one of the quicker interior linemen. And it shows that he can really have good range when you're talking about sword protection and hitting multiple targets, understanding when to help people. I think especially when he's fresh, he definitely shows the ability to have a great range, more so than some of these other linemen. And the thing with that though is, as good as he is with his feet, his lateral ability isn't that great to me as far as zone and pulling. I don't know what it is. He just seems a lot slower pulling than he should have. And that might be due to height. A lot of times, the leverage helps you when you're low. It helps you get out of the stance and turn quicker. So that might be that, but I just don't think zone and pulling, like doing the power stuff, is his forte. He did a lot of short pulls or skip pulls, and I think he's good there. But, for the most part, you like him in a gap scheme where he's double teaming and going 2-on-1 or 1-on-1 with a man. And as far as his double team, I really like his double team technique. I mean, it's Wisconsin. Again, one of the very few pro style run heavy offenses. So I really enjoy him. And when you have those pro style offenses, that's typically where you get linemen that are coached up a little more than the other linemen. So you always look for those Big Ten linemen to come out because they're going to have good technique. So then jumping over to the centers, as I said, I like the centers a lot more than the guards. I mean, Dieter's cool. Lindstrom is pretty good. But the centers, if you were to ask me, are the star of the show, which is kind of weird. But you got to start with Eric McCoy out of Texas A&M, 6'4", 310. The dude is super athletic, man. I was really shocked to see his combination. And I would say out of interior line, he's probably my number one because he can do a number of things. He's not the biggest guy. I mean, he's 6'4", which is good height. We'll see what he measures at, but he's not the longest guy, kind of short arms. But even with that, he plays really stout. He doesn't get bullied in the pocket. He really understands how to play with leverage. But outside of that, he can do a lot in space. You're talking about all the screens. You're talking about the center pool game. So you think of a guy like a Jason Kelsey with the Philadelphia Eagles, where they want to do a lot of movement with him. Eric McCoy, I think, is up on that level. He has a real good quick first step. He can play zone. He can get in front of guys on zone and make some movement. I mean, it's pretty much whatever you want him to do. And then he plays against power well. So, watching him against, Clemson, where you saw him against Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins, those guys, and to see how he really held his own on the line of scrimmage. I mean, he isn't shutting down everybody every play, but he's no punk either. You can't really bully him. So I was very impressed by Eric McCoy, his overall game, ability to play in space, ability to be tough at the point. I wouldn't be shocked. Now, he's a little, again, with him not being long, some teams might not want him as a guard, but I definitely think he could play both. So outside of him, you got Garrett Bradbury from NC State. He's a little undersized, like right on the edge of 300, maybe 6'2", 6'3". So a little bit undersized, but I really like his game. Similar to McCoy, very quick, very good in zone. NC State ran a lot of zone. He can get in front of guys on zone. He could get a lot of movement. When you're talking about pass protection, he's always looking to help people, help clean up blocks. I like all that. I don't know that he has natural power. He plays with great leverage because he's so short and he uses good technique. But, I think against some top level NFL power, he's going to struggle and he's going to look better when he's got help to him with the guards. Asking him to go one-on-one with somebody might not be the best option. But as a center, more times than not, you're going to have help. But I think he's just athletic. I think he gives you a lot in the run game as far as movement. And I think he gives you a good amount of effort in the pass game because I would say he's a gamer just as well. And then lastly, in the centers, or at least for the ones I like, I should say, Lamont Gallier, I want to say from Georgia, even more undersized than Bradbury a little bit. He's listed at 6'2". We'll see how tall he is. But I really enjoyed him. He's really quick for his size. You might not expect him to be that quick, but he's so active in pass protection. He's always looking for somebody to help out with, which I always appreciate, and he's aware of blitz and stunts. It seems like he was coached up well, where before the snap, he could understand where he needed to help at. And so as a pass protector, as center, especially, going into this league, that's one of the biggest things. So I was happy to see that. I think him being so short, again, that leverage helps him handle power, but you got to wonder what his natural power might be. So when you go big on big, he might not win all those battles. So that's something you got to think about. But you're talking about being able to play zone. You're talking about double team and driving people off the ball. You definitely saw it with him. And that's one of the more things. That's one of the things that's becoming more rare is seeing linemen that know how to drive block, that know how to move people off the ball. And Lamont's definitely one of those guys that is well versed in that. So then lastly, a guy that's probably on the top of a lot of people's board, but I didn't see it with him, is Michael Jordan. I know that's weird, but at Ohio State. First of all, former guard, he's 6'7", listed at 6'7", so huge for a center. Not many centers are that big. And so you thinking he might be a guard. Some people might think he's a tackle, but then you watch him play, and he's the definition of what I call a flash player. He has the tools, but you don't see it on tape. And even though you want to be like, oh, okay, he obviously doesn't have it, there's moments where it flashes and you're like, whoa, okay, now I see where everybody else is talking about, but it's so inconsistent and rare. And so with him, I think he has good feet. He just didn't show it a lot. And a lot of times he just gave up on plays and stopped moving. And that was a little, disheartening. And so it just seemed like his range overall was really limited. Whether you're talking about help blocking and sword protection, whether you're talking about going down the field to the second level, or you're talking about as a puller. I mean, there's some pulls where they'll do a pull protection, a rollout or something. He pulls to the edge and he's so quick, but then you see other pulls and he's just not as fast. And he stops his feet on contact, which also kills him. But he's 6'7", so that leverage piece is always going to be a problem. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure that I feel that strongly about Michael Jordan at Ohio State. All right. That's kind of all the linemen. Again, go to the description, click on the link to get to the Google Drive that has the documents with everybody on there. So if you want to see more detailed stuff. So let's get to our real grade for the Tennessee Titans, going back 3 years to their 2006 draft. So in the first round, we got Jack Conklin out of Michigan State, one of my absolute favorite prospects that year. End up going top 10. A lot of people was doubting him. I believe it's him and Taylor Lewan that a lot of people are going back and forth about. But anyway, Jack Conklin. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. Taylor Lewan was on his team. I forgot who the other tackle was. But anyway, Jack Conklin ended up being an all-pro at one point and a Pro Bowler. So really good tackle. Had a great rookie year, excuse me. Second round, you got Kevin Dodd out of Clemson, who is a free agent / not in the league anymore, got released by the Titans, never made it to be a starter or any type of impact. So that's a big miss. But you had 3 second-round picks. So the second one, you got Austin Johnson, who is still a rotational guy for the team. You got Derrick Henry out of Bama, who's a starting back and who's supposed to break out this year. Had a better second half, but has took over that starting role. Then in the third round, you get Kevin Byard, who a lot of people think is one of the best safeties in the league and is an all-pro, has been an all-pro. So that's a big hit in the third round. Tajay Sharp, who's a starter for a while, even as a rookie, and then contributes. LaShawn Sims is still on the team. Then you have Sebastian Trelota, who's not in the NFL anymore. You got Aaron Wallace, who was on the team this year, but then got released and ended up on another team. And then you got Kalen Reed, who was with the team for the first 2 years and was on a different team this third year. So you're looking at this overall. You got, let's see here, 10 picks. And out of those 10 picks, looks like 6 are still on the team. So you're hitting over half of your guys. Now, other 6 that are on the team, you got a couple all pros and you got pretty much all starters for the most part. So that's also a big thing for you. Now, out of one of those guys that isn't on the team, you got a second round pick. So in like the first pick in the second round. So that's pretty high to miss on, but you kind of recoup that with Kevin Byard and, it's a tough one, but you look at it again, top 10 picks the first round, you got to hit on that and you hit it out the park. And then again, you miss on Dodd, but Austin Johnson, honestly, he's a second round pick. He's a rotational starter, but he's not anything amazing, but still a solid pick. You would like to see more out of the second round pick, I would say, but you can't complain about hitting on that. Derrick Henry, again, that's a hit. Byard, that's a hit. Then after that, it's kind of, who's or what's it. I mean, you got 2 guys in the 7th round that's no longer with the team. The guy that's no longer in the league was a 6th round pick. I think those are all washes, so I'm not too mad about those. The one thing that sticks with me though is Kevin Dodd really not panning out, and that's the one that kind of hurts. So overall, I would give the Tennessee Titans a B for the 2016 draft. You hit big with your number 1 pick, but he's a top 10 player. That's what you should have. And then you hit big with a 3rd round pick at safety. And then the rest is kind of a wash. So I get him a B. So that's it for this episode. Definitely go down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the guards and centers, interior linemen of this 2019 draft. Again, check out the description so you can see the link to the more detailed notes. And tell me what you think about Tennessee Titans 2016 draft. Go to comments, share it around, get the convo started, thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.